cherish all the time you spend, you tuned in to. It's time again to cherish all the time you spend, you tuned in to. It's the number one podcast. The topics of discussion when we broadcast. So all them artificial man jokes, we do it natural from the concrete to a public standpoint. Real, wherever you're from, life is coexistence, but to know the real, you just gotta listen. Wherever you're from, life is coexistence, but to know the real, you just gotta listen.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the 52 Scott Podcast. I'm your host, K Money, and in the building with me, my co-host, Freddie G, Slash, and Comedian 96. Collectively, we are the Mind of Men. And you can find us on Twitter at 52 Scott Podcast, Instagram and Facebook, the 52 Scott Podcast. And if you're on YouTube, please don't forget to like and or subscribe. Welcome, fellas, to another episode of True Tuesday. Man, this week I thought we'd discuss a topic that actually was given to me a couple of weeks ago by a friend of mine named Marilyn Mata. So, Marilyn, I want to thank you for this topic. And that's about a young lady that lives in Georgia named Reesa Teesa. Have you fellas heard the Reesa Teesa story or issue that's out there on TikTok?
Yeah, I heard about it.
I haven't.
Man, she put out a 54 part series entitled "Who the Fuck Did I Marry?" Mm-hmm. And she's basically giving a very detailed story of how she met this man, how she dated him, married, and eventually divorced this guy. You know, because she found out throughout the process that he was a pathological liar.
Wow.
So they met in March of 2020. So I'm gonna kind of give you guys. I've been listening to it. I'm actually hooked because it's almost like a daytime soap opera. Honestly speaking, right. I'm locked in like a bug. But and she's very articulate, so it's not like she sounds crazy or anything of that sort. I mean, she very intelligent and she keeps the listener engaged.
Yeah.
And she definitely, like I say, got me hooked. But she said they met in March of 2020. So keep in mind, this is pre-pandemic, pre-COVID.
Right.
And I think this has a lot to do with how they actually kind of got locked in with each other.
Yeah.
Because from what I understand, they had to quarantine with one another.
Yeah.
So is it a show or is it how
this is just
TikTok videos?
So she's TikTok
she's a video, just
whole,
speaking into the camera.
Yeah.
Her
marriage, like from when she got married, or how does it work?
From the time that they met to the time they started dating to the time that they got married.
Yeah.
I mean,
so they really quick, but it's a series of them.
And this happened. I'm on episode 33, and there's 54 of them, and it's already based on the time frame. It's already been like a year and a half. Mm-hmm. So, and I'm not even finished yet. So, and the time frame has been a year and a half that they've been together.
Well, first of all, let's say this girl's smart. I don't know if y'all remember this show called Love Is.
It's a television show?
Yeah, it was a television show called Love Is. Who was in it was, you remember The Wire? The cop on The Wire, he was bow-legged. His name was Freeman. The black cop, he was one of the smarter cop that made the little doll houses on The Wire. He made the little, he's the cop.
Okay,
cop.
All right.
So it was him and his wife, and it was a true story. But it followed them from the time they met, sort of like the same way, to the time that they got married. Uh-huh. But this show Love Is got canceled because it was real life, right? The guy actually finds out that his wife was still holding the dude that proposed to her first ring, and then the show stopped and it never continued because it was real. So it's kind of like hers is the same thing. It's real life.
Yeah, it is real life.
It's real life.
And you say she's smart. Why?
Because that show was popular. It was hot, and then it just stopped. It stopped. Everybody was like, "Where's Love Is? Where's Love Is?" Everybody was wondering where Love Is.
This was on a major network?
This is on a major network, and then it just stopped, right? So it seems like it's headed the same way, and that's why I say she set it up the same way, and it's smart because it's real life, the same thing. It's the same thing. It's real life.
Well,
it's with her though. And
yeah, but I mean, she's exposing, and she says in the beginning how it's a lot. She's gonna be honest with her listeners, so it's a lot of things that she says that actually doesn't make her look smart. It actually makes her look a certain type of way. But
Her
anyway,
bank
again,
account gonna look smart.
like it does now.
Yeah.
But anyway, like I was saying, they met in March, and so their first date, she said, was to the Cheesecake Factory. So, you know, I wanted to find, you know, because of our Women Wednesday shows that we have, you know, there are a lot of topics that we've discussed, and I just wanted to see if this fell down any of those realms of something that we may have discussed. But based on her story, you know, the guy seemed upstanding. You know, she actually caught a flat on the way to the meeting of the Cheesecake Factory, right? Mm-hmm. And the guy came, fixed her flat, paid for the tie. You know, he was a real gentleman. Mm-hmm. So he's courting and doing. I don't see anything wrong that he's doing.
Right.
So throughout the conversation that they have, you know, he says that he's from, let me back up. He lived in California, went to San Diego State, played football, and most of his income came from playing arena football. And he allegedly played on a championship arena football team. Now, you know, arena football is not all that big. You know, they do televise it, but I've never got locked in on it to where I was interested in watching it. Mm-hmm. But apparently, you know, he played on this championship arena football team, and he was bragging to her, she said, about it. But this is where he got most of his finances. And now he was a regional representative for some condiment company that he was working with. So, you know, she said the conversation was going on fine. You know, she had no reason not to believe anything. You know, she was just intrigued because she found someone that actually talked more than she did, which I found kind of funny because she's telling the story very, you know, effortlessly, if I can say that's she's just spitting it out. And like I said, I'm locked in, and she definitely has me engaged. Mm-hmm. So again, keep in mind this was in March, which is pre-COVID, so they were seeing each other every day up until pretty much the nation got locked down. So they were trying to figure out where were they going to quarantine, either in his pad or in her spot. Now she said he stayed in some like a little studio at the time, and he told her that it was temporary, and that he was in the process of looking for a home. So he was like, you know, he even showed her the email where it showed how, you know, he was in the process of looking for a home, and he had someone helping him. I don't know if it was a realtor or not at that time, but everything looked legit. So she had no reason to question it. So, you know, they ended up deciding, you know, they were going to quarantine in her spot, which was a lot bigger, 3-bedroom, you know, blase. So while quarantining, you know, of course, you know, you eventually grow closer together. I'm assuming this is how it happened. Right. And based on what she's saying, you know, everything was just going pitch perfect. Mm-hmm. So he brought up buying a home. Well, he didn't bring up buying a home. She brought up wanting to find out, since they were staying together at that time during the quarantine, and he was house hunting, you know, if he was going to look for a home for him or for them. Right. Mm-hmm. And so he mentioned, hey, you know, everything going fine. I'm gonna marry you. Yeah. I'm gonna look for a home for us.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they get a realtor, and they end up doing some house hunting, and she's actually showing the houses on these TikTok videos that they looked at, and the one that they elected to put a bid on. Uh-huh. So they now this is all during COVID, so everything is pretty much going on virtually. Right. So this kind of helped, I think, this guy's story as far as, you know, a lot of the things that he was able to get away with. But he wasn't a dumb brother. You know, his stories seemed to back up the things that was going on. Seemed to back up his stories. She was not able to find any flaws right away. It just certain things didn't sound right. Uh-huh. So you know, he mentioned how he had several bank accounts. Okay, so as they were discussing, you know, the purchase of the home for them, you know, he said that, you know, he was approved to buy a $750,000 home. Mm-hmm. So, you know, she was all for that. Oh, let me back up some. During the time that they were staying, quarantining in her pad, he was paying her rent. Mm-hmm. He was paying all the utilities. So basically, he was paying for everything except her car note, and, you know, her the necessities that she needed. So keep in mind, any female would have been falling for this same type of shit.
Right.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
of
saying?
course.
So far, I don't see anything that he's doing
He
wrong.
ain't did nothing wrong so far.
And she's not been a gold digger or anything like that.
Right.
She's just, utilizing what's been the opportunity that's been presented to her, basically,
Right.
is all I see.
Right.
So back to the home purchasing. He's approved for a $750,000 home. The current job that he has now, I think he was promoted to VP, and which was going to be a substantial amount of money that he was going to be making. And she's on board. Of course, with this home, and they find one and they put a bid on it. So while they're going through the home buying process, she wasn't involved with it as much as she wished she had been, because she was basically just going on everything that the guy was telling her. So, he told her, he even put earnest money down on the home. And so she was like, oh, okay. So you know how you can look on those home buying sites and then pretty much give you a status on if a home has a contract on it.
Right.
And it pretty much lets you know the steps of the home buying process on this current home. So she even pulled that up, which kind of validated his stories, even though the home that they had both agreed to purchase or put the contract on, it was a contract on it, but it wasn't for them. So when I think later on when she ended up looking to see the status of this home, it showed that the home wasn't available anymore, and she realized that okay, hey, it's not our home. So she was wondering who the hell
got the house.
Right.
Right.
So she called the realtor that they were dealing with, and he ended up telling them that the guy had not contacted him to do anything. And so when she confronted the dude with it,
I was on his side for a moment.
when she confronted him with it, he stated he was dealing with a friend. And so instead of putting a bid in with the realtor that they had been speaking with mutually, he ended up backdooring and going to another route. So she wasn't really questioning it. He just drew a red flag in her head. So moving forward, I'm not sure what day I'm on right now, but they still quarantining together in her pad. And so they still going through the home buying process. Now, she ends up getting pregnant during this
Quarantining.
There was this COVID. It was gonna be a COVID baby.
That's a COVID baby. Yeah.
But unfortunately, throughout that process, she ended up losing the baby, and I can imagine doing the stress that she was under. Not knowing, one, she didn't want to deliver the baby in her current location. She wanted to be in a better. And let me back up again because I know I'm going kind of fast. All this is taking place in Georgia. I believe they live in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah.
She's originally from New Jersey, and he's originally from the East Coast. I kind of gave y'all a backdrop of his story, but she's from New Jersey, but she lives in somewhere around Atlanta, Georgia, in that vicinity, and she works for the Georgia Patrol. She was working with troopers around that time, and again, he was working for a condiment company. She didn't really specify which one, but he had a high position, so. They knew that they could. She knew that based on the information given to her, he was able to afford at minimum a $750,000 home.
Right.
His backstory. He said that he had 3 accounts. I think one was with U.S. Today or something like that, and he showed her his statements. I think online or something like that. Yeah. And she could actually see the physical numbers. So again, she has no reason to question this man's story thus far. And he also had this offshore account, which is where the majority of his money was held. Now, she never saw the amount. She never saw this account. But I guess she just went on the other 2 accounts that she saw. One had like $9,600 and the other one had like $15,000. So she was going on that. So when she lost the baby, it was around the time where he had just recently got promoted. So when she had to, I don't know if this is the correct word to use, dispose of that fetus or whatnot, he wasn't available to take her to the hospital, which upset her, right? Oh. So she had to get a friend to take her to the hospital.
Unfortunate though, because it was right at his promotion, so it was like I can't
I mean, I can understand his dilemma, bro. You know, family
that
come
dilemma
before,
is kind of.
You got to put your family first at that point.
I get it, but he got promoted to vice president, right?
But I'm sure the job would have understood that, bro. Come on.
Yeah, I get it.
You just lose your baby.
Yeah.
That's if they're not sympathetic for you at that time, then that may not be a job you want to be at.
You say when it came time for her to dispose of the fetus.
Right. She had miscarried.
She miscarried.
Okay.
She miscarried. I'm sorry. She miscarried. So, the doctor gave her 3 options where she was either able to take a pill, and it would have happened naturally, or she could have went to the hospital and did DNC, I think is what it's called.
Okay.
And the third option, not do anything. I think, and it would just happen. The body would just eventually naturally
pass it.
Yeah. And she ended up choosing the. She said the pill she was allergic to, so she ended up having to go into the hospital. That's what it was. She didn't want to go to the hospital because it was around COVID, so she didn't want to be in the hospital during COVID, which I totally understand.
I totally understand it.
But unfortunately, that was the route that she had to go. So during the procedure, she was heavily medicated, so she was kind of out of it. But she said when she came, after the procedure and she came to, the first thing she was wondering was where he was at, because he wasn't there, and he was supposed to be picking her up. And this process or procedure takes, I want to say she said recovery was about 30 minutes to an hour. So at this time, he had enough time to drive from wherever he was to the hospital. Well, he made excuses on why he wasn't able to pick her up. Although, basically what he said was he was stuck in traffic, but he was en route. Right. And it took him about 3 hours before he actually got to the hospital and actually picked her up. But the doctor and the nurses kind of kept him informed on what was going on. So he was somewhat trying to be attentive, but because of the promotion, it was a business meeting that he had that day. That's what it was, an important business meeting that he had to attend to. But he had an executive assistant that he was given when he got that promotion. So the executive assistant was supposed to be his liaison between what was going on with his wife in the hospital.
Okay, I got you.
And fill him in, and if he was needed, the executive assistant was supposed to pretty much, get word to him, and he would, I guess, come out. But he picked her up from the hospital, and so they get home. I'm kind of fast forward to them getting married. They didn't have a ceremony. Now, keep in mind, he's met her family through Zoom. Because this is again how we got to get around, how we communicating back in the day. Not wanting to be exposed to anything. So she was able. They met each other's parents through Zoom. She said that she was able to meet one of his real brothers. He had 2 brothers or 3 brothers and allegedly 2 sisters. I don't think she had any siblings. If she did, I didn't catch that part. But he did meet her mother and her aunt. And again, she kind of stressed how she was from Jersey, and her mom and her aunt basically didn't play. So they get married. Didn't have a wedding. They just kind of did a justice of the peace type of thing. I might be off on that, but they went somewhere where they were able to get married. During this pandemic time. And she said that's when everything changed. Usually, she was saying usually it's the female. They say it's the female that normally changes once you get married. Well, she said that it was the total opposite with them. He was a true gentleman all the way up until that point. And let me back up. They had her birthday is in February, and I think and it was around Valentine's. I think her birthday was a day after Valentine's Day, and she was like, he pretty much spoiled her on both of those days. So again, this man is still acting like a true gentleman and not doing anything suspicious,
Right.
other than some of his stories, which probably is not panning out to her.
Yeah.
But it's not giving her any reason to want to go investigate anything. They get married, and she noticed how things stopped, and she starts to question a lot of the things that he's saying to her at this point, to the point to where she's asking him, and she's noticing how he always has a answer or a reason for everything when it doesn't pan out the way it's supposed to be. Back up when they got two of the houses they were supposed to get that fell through. He always had a reason why they somehow fell through. He was supposed to be buying her a BMW, a new vehicle. He was like, I kind of jumped around because this was actually before the miscarriage. He wanted to get her a new vehicle because of her being pregnant. Didn't want her riding around in the car that she had, which was a reliable vehicle, but he was making good money, and he just wanted her riding around better than what she was. So again, making them look good. Go ahead, Comedian 96.
I got 2 questions.
What's up?
First of all, this story is interesting.
Yeah,
I'm sitting there listening.
I'm telling you, I'm locked
It is
in,
very
bro.
interesting, but I just got 2 questions. One, has he ever beat on her or cheat on her? So far, I know you only up to 33.
Well, no physical
I haven't
abuse
seen that physical.
occurred.
Cheating?
I'm about to get to that.
Okay. All right. And then number 2, does this man get to tell any parts of the story? Is this all her?
This is all her. It's all one-sided.
So one-sided story. So her side,
Yeah,
nothing his side.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I don't know if he's even put anything out yet or not.
That's
but,
what I'm saying.
but
I wouldn't.
TMZ
If I was him, I
covered
wouldn't.
something.
I wouldn't. It
And-
wouldn't even put nothing out.
TMZ covered some of it, and they got some answers from one of the guys. I don't know if the guy's name is McCoy, but whoever that is, they got some responses out of him. But
Yeah,
again,
she doesn't even use his real name during the story. She calls him Legion throughout the process. So I'm not even sure what his real name is.
it's I saw it, man. Robin Roberts.
Oh, okay.
So far I'm hearing the story, right? And then Slash, he just added that TMZ was kind of involved and had that little interview. I'm trying to figure out, like, what did he do to her?
You still trying to get to that point?
Yeah.
Figure
that's
out
what I-
what
So
did-
far, I
what did he
mean,
do?
everything sounds legit so far.
Yeah.
Now, I'm at where they got married, and I told you how I mentioned how I guess when she mentioned things changing, I'm assuming she was talking about physically they were no longer being sexual, and she ended up finding out that he was on he met a female on a dating site. And this is actually how they met. I forgot to even mention
been on a
that. They
dating
met
site.
on
Dates,
Facebook,
yeah.
Facebook dating app, and they actually had matched on a different dating app, which she said was kind of red flag number 1, but she ignored it. But anyway, he was on another dating app. Found out she found out he was on another dating app, Plenty of Fish to be exact. And
Okay. Did you cheat? Okay. So that should be the end of the show right there. She met.
no, she didn't meet him on Plenty of Fish, but she found out he was on Plenty of Fish.
Okay.
And this is
okay.
after the marriage.
Okay.
I can't even remember right now how she found out he was on Plenty of Fish.
that might have been an old profile.
No, actually, it was.
It doesn't matter. You should never be on Plenty of Fish.
She had access to his phone. She had access to his phone and been having access, just never had a reason to really go in it. But something told her to go in it at this time, and I think that's how she discovered the Plenty of Fish profile or whatnot.
Damn.
And I think she discovered a conversation that was going on and realized it was an inappropriate conversation. And I'm going to go ahead and fast forward. They ended up going to marriage counseling. The marriage counselors, it was a pastor and his wife that they went to go see. They saw the trouble that was in his marriage and told them that, they didn't see them making it, to a year anniversary, which she thought was, well, she didn't think anything of it. Actually, she just kind of, it was bits and pieces throughout the stories that she said it was a bunch of things that she vividly remembered and like just had embedded in her head and she didn't forget. And like I said, this woman is very detailed in her story, in telling this story. So fast forwarding some more. Well, let me back up. Then I'm gonna fast forward.
Okay, Quentin Tarantino.
He told her he was only married once. She had never been married. So on that first date, they both discussed this is what they were looking for, being married. Okay, I'm gonna fast forward. She found out that the guy had actually been married more than once, and somehow she got a hold of his ex-wife's phone number, so she gave him a call. Gave her a call. I'm sorry.
Her call. Okay,
Yeah.
now it's starting to get juicy.
Yeah,
So
he
once-
caught up now.
Yeah, he is. He was been caught up. He just really finna get caught up because when she got a hold of the ex-wife, she said the ex-wife just immediately started laughing when she found out who she was, which was sign number one. So the ex-wife pretty much ran down, and started off by saying, anything that he's told you is a lie. And so they got her attention.
Yeah.
And so
She done.
yeah, she pretty much got
Yeah,
validation
she's
that he
done.
never lived in California, which I kind of skipped over a lot. He mentioned how he went to San Diego State. She had proof that he didn't go to San Diego State by calling San Diego State and finding out that they had no record of this man.
Damn.
Allegedly, he had a good relationship with his ex-wife's kids, who she had a boy and a girl, but no dealings with the ex-wife. He had mentioned how during the quarantine, the daughter had caught COVID and ended up passing away during COVID, which ended up being a lie.
Oh, boy, this boy was death.
So she finds when she while she's talking to the ex-wife and pretty much knows for sure now that she has married a pathological liar. She said before she got off the phone with the ex-wife, she confirmed that she would never let the guy know that they spoke, for one. And she said she asked how her daughter was, and the lady said that her daughter was fine, and so she was like, what did he say about my daughter? And she said she couldn't tell her pretty much that this man pretty much said your daughter was dead. So she pretty much kind of fed her some BS, but basically never did tell her what it was. So fast forwarding again, and this pretty much is where I'm at now, and I'm kind of mad that I didn't finish it for my show. But even the parts where I'm at right now is still juicy. But I'm at the part now where she's kicked the man out of the house because she's confronting him on the lies that she basically has confirmation of. And she said she was to the point to where she was shaking, and she ended up having to call her mom, and he ended up calling his aunt basically to I guess calling his aunt. He thought he tried to do the sob thing, my wife don't want me no more type of story. And she feel like I done lied to her, but I ain't never lied to her. And she said when he said that one statement right there, something clicked in her head. And she said she started looking around the room for something basically to use as a weapon if need be. Her mother knew at that time that her daughter was at a point that she couldn't do anything to stop her, and felt like it was gonna be a fatal issue if if the guy didn't get out of the house. Basically, she was trying to kick him out and told him he had to go.
Yeah.
But he was refusing to leave.
Yeah.
And this is how everybody else had gotten involved.
Yeah. And she said it was on his birthday.
Yeah.
She was kicking him out.
She kicked him out on his birthday. You're right.
Damn.
God,
Well, that's a cold.
Little backdrop. Now he was dealing with an injury. His leg, he said, was a football injury. She thought it was cancer. I didn't get to the details of what was wrong with his leg, but he wasn't 100%. I'm saying that to say he wasn't 100%. So he was 6'4". He was a pretty big dude, but she was at the point of rage to where she wasn't in fear of his size. She felt like she could basically whoop his ass.
Yeah.
So
damn, how tall is she? 6'7"?
I'm not sure how tall she was. She was a plus size woman though. But again, she wasn't fearing this man. He had to leave her house.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, this is where I'm at. I'm gonna finish this later on today. But
tune in next week, Cape Crusaders, for the second half.
I'm sure a lot of people will go out there if they hadn't heard of Reesa, Teesa. They gonna go probably look and listen themselves. I feel like I'm late. Like I said, a friend of mine. Again, shout out to Marilyn Mata for bringing this to me. She brought this to me about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I never brought it to you guys, and I regret not doing so because I'm seeing her now on Good Morning America. The lady is getting exposure from this, telling her story.
Oh yeah,
and it's a lot of other stuff going on, man. The people that gave her the BMW, and everything.
Oh, no shit?
Yeah, man. That because she said that the ex was supposed to buy one, So now Tyler Perry just slid into a DM on Instagram, And,
It's a Lifetime movie, bro. I wouldn't be surprised if Netflix or somebody like that.
So far, what this dude has done, he has lied to her about being a football player.
Everything, I think.
He has lied to her.
He was actually married twice, or more than once.
About the number of times he was married, but he wasn't still married because they would make him a bigamist.
Right.
So he wasn't still married.
He was divorced.
So he lied about previous relationships. He was cheating on her and got caught on on Plenty of Fish.
Well, he got caught on Plenty of Fish, but it was something I didn't mention. Towards the end, before he got kicked out, he had 2 phones. So one of the phones she ended up going through, and she found out how he was fucking around with a prostitute.
Oh,
and so I think that may have been the straw that broke the camel's back with her. I don't know, but
okay.
So yeah, cheating, lying.
So cheating, lying about his money, assuming.
Well, the money's
still in question.
Yeah, the money was still in question. It was a point where, like I say, he had no problem showing her 2 of his accounts, but the offshore account, he was very adamant on not showing her that one for whatever reason. So
instead of breaking it out, the bottom line, what he has done to her is he's cheated on her and he's lied to her. So he's done what most men do.
I hate to agree with you, Freddie G, but
he's done what most men do.
I mean, the courting.
So now it's not cool
by far,
and it's not right for you to play with someone's heart like that. What makes her story so special?
Well, TikTok is for one, social media.
Yeah, right. The way she took advantage.
She took advantage of utilizing social media.
How often do you go on maybe Facebook or Instagram and you see somebody going off, this no good, so he ain't no good. You hear those stories all the time. What makes her story?
I would have to say just her brutal honesty, because she wasn't, even though it was a one-sided story, she wasn't trying to make herself look good throughout the story. She even told the bits and pieces, which I'm sure I left out a hell of a lot, where she looked stupid, and she's receiving flack from the comments. Some people, I think she said one comment was like, you don't even look like somebody a VP would even talk to type of comment.
That's just somebody just shooting. Somebody just shooting.
Charlemagne the God called her a big back.
But to answer your question, what makes her story different?
Yeah, what makes her story different? Because we hear those stories all the time. Yeah. What is it about her story?
I don't think she made it interesting. She just made it interesting.
That's it. She made it interesting because what she did was she used the social media platforms. Now, I do see people going on there and they'll post a story, but after that post, that's it. She said, okay, I'm going to write a
series.
Book. She did a series.
I'm gonna tell you now.
So
that's what made it.
That's what makes
popular.
her story.
She did a series.
Yeah, she made it popular.
This process.
If that's the case, I would like to see Shaq's wife. What she did when she found out he was bullshitting around. What she did, she went and bought houses here in Houston too.
Comedian 96. He's the bald headed one with the goatee.
Ex-wife. So when she found out what he was doing, she was smart. I would like to see that story. She started buying houses with the money, and then she divorced. So that story would be interesting. This girl was smart at what she did. She was smart and using, like you said, social media to do it.
She took advantage of it.
She should have.
Yeah.
I mean,
and because she got so many views, this is why the people coming at her with the BMW series, because she just promoted them people. They can see how much she promoted them.
I mean, we can look back as far as you guys remember. I can't think the dude's name was Antoine something. Hide your kids, hide your wife.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know that 15 minutes of fame. Social media, people have been getting their 15 minutes off of 15 minutes of fame off of social media for so long.
Long time.
Yeah.
Sometimes that 15 minutes lasts a little longer, and now hers is starting. And like you say, Slash, she's benefited from getting getting the vehicle that she wanted. and she's been on Good Morning America and some other show. I saw her talking to what's Oprah's friend Gail King.
Yeah.
So she's getting that exposure, and who knows what's going to come after that.
Yeah.
So I guess she another. Well, nah, that's how Stella got her group. What didn't that lady?
She did reference that movie.
How Stella got her group at?
With the Angela Bassett.
Yeah, but she played her. But I think that lady dude was a download dude or some kind of a lion dude or something like that.
Something on those lines. But she did reference that movie because when she said she clicked, she said when Angela Bassett was looking around the room, I guess for his shit to burn. Mm-hmm. That's how she did when he mentioned to his aunt how he had never lied to her. But I guess it was just the magnitude of the lies, and like you say, Freddie G, he did nothing that most guys don't do. Most guys, not all, because I know us four up here on this panel, we're not in that category. Mm-hmm. Well, three of us four are not in that category. Comedian 96, he's in a league of his own. But I want to thank y'all for joining, and if y'all haven't looked on TikTok to, I'm sure you might be interested in hearing the rest of how this story ended. So yeah, just go on TikTok and pull up Reesa, Teesa, and I'm sure you'll be able to see the other episodes. But I want to thank y'all for joining me today, and peace out. This concludes another True Tuesday episode, and be sure you tune in tomorrow for Women Wednesday with Freddie G. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter at 52 Sky Podcast, on Instagram and Facebook, the 52 Sky Podcast. And for all you YouTubers, don't forget to like and subscribe. And to all my 52 Sky faithfuls, it may be new to you, but if you heard it here, then you know it's true.